Love and happiness can make you do right, can make you do wrong. It can make you stay out all night long. Forgive me, Al Green. But Al Green was putting it down. But what if you knew love and happiness were not something you could ever attain? What if they are something entirely different from what we think they are? Well, one way to begin finding out the truth is by asking, who am I?
Who am I?
Who am I?
Who? Our purpose is to awaken.
Who am I?
To awaken to absolute truth.
Am I?
Who am I?
Who?
Who?
Our purpose is to awaken to absolute truth.
Absolute.
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 Absolute truth.
Our purpose is to awaken. Are they one and the same? Absolute and truth. That's our purpose.
Who am I?
Hey, 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 all right, hey, all right. Yeah, I almost had a little crash going on there. Okay.
Good.
Yeah. Well, you can still love them, though, right? Okay.
No love lost.
Yeah, no love lost. Okay. Well, please, don't go out and buy my albums. All right.
Okay.
I'm not gonna give up my day job. All right. I don't think I can, make it as a singer. All right. But everybody knows Al Green, and the song that he was singing, and matter of fact, goes on in the song says, love is. Here I go again, y'all. Okay. But now most people will say, love is God, God is love. All right. And you ask any religious person, they will say, yeah, God is love, sure, okay. But do you really know what love means? Okay? And is there any relationship with happiness? All right? Because we all say we want love. Every child wants the love of their mother and father. All right? And they get what they get. All right? And happiness. Who doesn't want to be happy? All right? Only a fool would say they don't want to be happy. So, yeah, Raphael.
Dr. Carter, going to the source, you always said, and it's infinite. And in references to who I am, I see that love is very, very difficult to find. So happiness comes from 5 components. Number 1 is attachment, selfishness, and ego. And the other 2 would be forgiveness and gratitude, everything that's given to us. So when we look at those 4 or 5 components, that is what I see happiness. Now, when it comes to love, love is everything.
Yeah, love is, if you say love is God, all right, then God has to be all, omni, all right? You ask any religious person, they will say, God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and so forth. But they will have usually a God out there, okay, somewhere where I'm not. And they think I is a human. But this is what we really want to get into. See, since all is, there cannot be anything less than all, there cannot be anything more than all. It just is, all right? So you can say, is love all? Love, as you just said, Raphael, you said it's just the entirety of it all. Total, complete. That's what love is, because that's what God is. There's only one. There's only one all right? You can't have 2 infinities. They can only have one infinitive, one all. And that's, you can call it love, but we usually think of love as, ooh, baby, baby. Al Green, Smokey Robinson. There's a me and a you. I love you. But how about instead of saying I love you, say I God? And is there a you after that? Okay? Archibald, you look like you got something called a question.
I don't even know what it is. I mean,
You gonna stand up?
I'm sorry. I mean, we know there are different types of love, agape and fear and all these different things. And say love, we would have to subtitle them, fit all of that into all.
Well, see, that's a good question. Because you see, when we start as a human, you're going to have differences. You will have different types of love, just like you got female, male, or you have different types of carpets or whatever, okay? When you start as a human. But if you start as God or all, can you have different types of love? Can you have different types of God? You know, there's only one God. Now, you know, you were raised Christian just like I was, okay? And Christianity is supposedly, you know, comes out of the Abrahamic tradition that they say they are monotheistic, okay? That means belief in one God. But if you take away the believer, all you got is one. That's God. And that's me. That's I. There's only one presence. Yes, Bahia.
Yeah, the thing, I just asked myself two questions. Why does the mind create love in the first place? And why does the mind create a lack of love? And the answer I got is love is an emotion created out of fear for safety.
Yeah, all emotions come out of fear. Okay? Now, most of you probably, you know, have studied, you know, had your little intro psychology stuff. You had Maslow. Remember Maslow had a pyramid type thing, you know, need, what he called a need theory. And at the basis was, you know, survival. Okay? And there is something called opposite survival called I will not survive. All right? And that comes in something called fear. All right? Like Charles Darwin said, you know, it's basically the law of self-preservation. I'm basically afraid that I will not survive. Okay? So all the most basic emotion is fear. But there was a man who said, perfect love casts out fear 2,000 years ago. Perfect love casts out fear. Okay? So Jesus was looking at what is love and can it coexist with fear? You know, and he was saying love, which is God, fear, which is man, they cannot coexist. Okay? Gloria.
Well, I was basically going to say that fear is an emotion, love is not an emotion. If you have that as a basis of God's identity, love, all, those two words are synonymous to what is God. So God is not a feeling. God has nothing to do with our senses. Fear has something to do with our senses. That's what we feel as a human. But love is who I am, not Gloria, the I that I am.
Yeah.
Love is.
Yeah, see, the thing is, you brought up an important point there. See, if there's an emotion, a feeling, okay, and I did my dissertation on emotions, okay? Emotions change. You know, one day you are happy, and the next 5 minutes you win the lottery. You go, ooh, hey, I won the lottery, you know. And then, you know, the next day all your relatives, friends, everybody comes and says, give me some. Okay, you go, oh my God, you know. So you went from, you know, being happy to being whatever, okay? Feelings change, but can God or the infinite change? No. Yeah, Sharon.
So basically, the only thing that's real is love.
Yes.
Fear is not real.
Right.
Love is the only thing that is real.
It's the only reality because it's true. Truth can't change. You know, 2 plus 2 is 4. That will never, on base 10, that will never change. Okay? So, one definite criteria for truth is that it's permanent. It's changeless. Okay? It has to, and although I'm speaking like there's time, it always has to be the same. Okay? There's a verse, I think, in the Course in Miracles which says, you know, man's greatest fear is that we're all the same, okay? That, you know, there are no differences. and that man has to have change and he has to have differences. That's the human mind, all right? I think it's on Joan next, and then Bahia, and then Ball. Pass, okay, Bahia, and then Ball.
Okay, so really we're talking about duality of when one is in is with God, but then the love is perfect. There is no fear there. But when one is in love with another person, and their emotions are involved, more than likely they're trying to survive in some kind of way with that other person.
Yeah, I'm always looking out for Alan Carter. As Alan Carter, I'm like, what's in it for me? Okay, I have something called a desire, and it could be something called to be with another. All right, I can have a desire for to be with something called Mercedes, an object, an inanimate object or whatever. No, I'm not weird, y'all. Okay, okay, but follow me on this. All right, but there's always something apart from me, separate from me. Okay, now see, yes, the human mind has to have duality. It has to have me and something else.
An object and
a subject and an object. Mm-hmm. But truth only knows subject without an object. Mm-hmm. Okay? And the human mind says, okay? Because you have to think about something. All right? So this whole thing called human thinking can't be about love. There's no such thing in truth called I love you. Because there's no you. There's only I. There's only the infinite. When I say I, I'm not talking about a person. I'm not talking about, obviously, Alan. And I'm not talking about Jesus. I'm not talking about anything that's identified with a mind. I'm talking about the infinite absolute. That which is all, and all cannot know another. God can't love you. God doesn't know anything about you. But I am God.
So what is love?
Love is just a presence of all. It's the awareness that I am that I am. That's love. Okay? And it's not an emotion. It is that which is eternally, and eternal doesn't mean a long time. It means now. Okay? So that's what love is. Love is just an awareness of who and what I am, which is the I that is impersonal and that's infinite absolute.
So that's not to be confused with self-love?
Well, again, you got to use what the self means.
The duality.
Yeah, I mean, the self, if you think it's a self, see, all humans think of themselves as a human. That means a mind that identifies with a body. You think you're a body that came out of Ruth Carter. I think I knew her. Okay. Anyway, I think I'm a body that came out of Ruth Carter. And every human identifies with this form, okay, a body. That means you have now another body. I knew Ruth Carter, okay? So there was something called me and a not me. But can that be true of God, meaning the infinite absolute? Can God, the infinite, know another? And when I say God, please hear me, okay? Because we all been conditioned with that word God. And we all have, most of us have this thing called, some figure, idea, okay, of an entity that is, usually we place them, and we call it, give them a gender, a male gender for most people, okay, and we put him somewhere where we're not. And that's what we gotta get rid of. Yeah, Raphael.
Yes, Dr. Carter, I'm a little bit confused when you said in the quick starter question that love coexists with romance. And my answer is yes, because love is giving abundantly. So that is included.
Well, again, like Bahia was saying, duality. See, if there's given to another, that's duality. Okay, that means there's a me and another.
Well, that's love all.
Well, no.
All. No. So it means that if you're saying no, how can somebody be in love with somebody else?
You can't, because there's nobody else. So this is what the human mind can't get. Like I said, I think I knew Ruth Carter.
So then,
Okay, I think I'm a body. See, as long as you have a body identification, you will have to say there's another body. I think that I came out of my mother. All right? So that was a body called, a female body called my mother. And then there's me, who, she gave birth to.
So when
Two
you-
bodies.
when you
But
saying-
I'm saying that's impossible.
when you said love and romance is love that will take.
No.
Boom.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no.
You're making
See, you're
sense.
starting off with that, again, your premise is that there are two or more. That's your premise.
So what do you call that love or romance?
Nothing. It's a fantasy. It's a hallucination. Okay? Now, I know this upsets a lot of people. Okay? Because, but see, it's people who get upset. All right? It's people. It's a person or persons. And what I'm underneath that, I'm saying there are no persons. All right? Give all the credit, all the honor, all the glory to God. Meaning what? I am that I am. The only existence there is, the only presence there is, by here. Oh, I'm sorry, it was a minute, and then by here.
I'm sorry. Lose my thoughts. At my age, I'll lose my thoughts.
Yeah, ladies first.
Okay, so we're going to give all glory and whatever to God, right? So in doing that, and if there's no way that the mind can be in the absolute consciousness.
Right.
There's no way that that can happen. But there's something else going on here that has us mimic that presence as best as we can, and sometimes as worst as we can, in terms of our gestures toward loving other people, and our belief in this love that is all abiding and that pervades and creates everything that is in existence. And I would argue that as long as we're in our bodies and we're walking around here with our minds, we are going to attempt to emulate or come as close to that love as possible. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't either. Okay? I mean, you can do whatever you want to. All right? But you don't, look.
About what's the basic
Hey, I
human
brought
need.
this time. Let me explain this.
That's all you
All right? Hello, Bahia. How are you doing, Bahia? You doing all right? Huh?
Who are you?
Oh, I am Alan. Okay? And I am in love. Okay? Look. Can this puppet do anything of its in and of itself? No. It has no power. I have no power as a human. Of myself, I can do nothing. That's what this puppet is, and that's all Bahia is, Alan, Donald Trump, Jesus, anybody who identifies with a mind. Now, it appears, in the dream that something's going on. Okay? It appears, like if you dreamed last night that you and Denzel were doing whatever, all right? Whatever. Come with me, go with me, all right?
Okay, I'll just go
Go
with you on
with me,
that
all right?
Okay.
All right. So the point, though, is it was a dream, and who dreamed the dream? That's the question, all right? And that's what you were asking about when you were saying there seems to be something going on, all right? And that which seems to be going on is a thought called separate from God. But there can't be anything separate from the infinite. So it didn't happen. All right? You and Denzel never did really get whatever y'all did. Okay? It was a dream. And that's all that appears to be going on here. Or it's a play. It's a puppet play. Hello, Bahia. All right? It's a puppet. This puppet is like Alan Carter. No power. Just like in the dream, that character has no power. It's the dreamer who gives the power to the dream figures, okay, in the dream. All right? Yeah. A minute next, okay?
So for me, I'm thinking of it as love that comes from us is thinking about love or trying to express it it comes from a human identity.
Yes.
And that human identity is going to always look outside its own self for love. So I'm going to look at love as being an object or a form, but not true love, which is formless. Because we know that God is love, and we know God is changeless. And Gloria said in the last class that we can equate I am to self. So self is love. So we don't have to look for love anywhere else, because we already it.
Right. And there's nowhere else. I'm sorry.
Okay, so then when we get caught up in the trap of trying to think, we could think about love or even express it in some kind of way that is understandable, because it's formless. You can't understand it.
Right.
You can only be it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And I think that, succinctly captures, what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Ball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going back to the fact that we're using language as figures, and when we say love and then we say all or we say God, then it creates too much confusion about what we're actually talking about. But I mean, to say love equals all, I mean, all is everything. That's just it. All is.
Yeah.
Now, where does love come in there? What
Just
is
say,
that?
well, what else can that be other than all?
Nothing. Well,
Right.
why
so
is
you
love?
can call it love, you can call it trash can.
Okay, a football. Okay.
Yeah, football.
Yeah.
Okay,
just
what else?
Just don't call it Donald Trump.
Don't call it Donald Trump. But I mean, those are just words. Like,
Yeah, but you have to. I mean, we use the word to translate our thoughts and stuff to everybody else.
Yeah.
And without that, we just get totally.
That's why God can't talk.
Well,
Okay? Meaning
we
in the
just have to
sense
say all
that
this.
who will he talk to?
we just say all is.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
mean, and see, that's why God doesn't have a name. Not really.
He just
Not
is.
even the word name I am.
He just
I mean,
is.
why would he need to name himself when, we use names. I can say, I'm Alan, and that's Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's to separate me from Carol.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but that which is all infinitely present, it wouldn't even need a name.
No.
It wouldn't need to communicate, to talk, or anything. It just is. And that's why the human mind, that's why this does seem confusing.
Well, why do we have to call it love?
Call it, like I said,
Why
call
say
it trash can.
we call it all is. I mean, you call it all.
Yeah, I
or
mean,
is. And,
it's just a
Yeah.
word. I mean, all language.
yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
All
I mean,
language-
but it just confuses everything else. I mean, because we
But
say
it-
love, we think.
But it also,
Look.
it's like using God. It also helps us, this thinker, to collapse our concepts, our beliefs about love, about God, about happiness. So it's like one of your questions was, if I say I love you, do I commit blasphemy? It's like we're committing blasphemy right now by talking about this.
Anytime you talk.
So
you commit
anytime as
Blasphemy. Lies, yeah.
the basis of a human identity, that's blasphemous.
Yes. Yes.
But we keep coming from that. So it's like if we go to love, it's like be love versus doing love.
Yes.
And if you go to be love, and this is a question, if I start from being love, then what shows up is unrecognizable.
Yeah. To the human.
If I go, if I start from I love you, or I am, not even I am love, but I am love, that kind of gets in the way, or I get that personality in the way.
Yes.
So, and that leaves nothing but the human condition of lack of fear.
Right. That's why, God, I think it was Joel Goldsmith who said, man depends upon the absence of God. Okay? In other words, if there's a man, a human, okay, a human and God cannot coexist. All right? All and that which is not all cannot coexist. Is cannot exist with isn't. Okay? There's only is. There's no such thing as isn't. All right? Isn't is an absence of is. But how can you have an absence of all? Impossible. Yeah, Bahia then Raphael.
Okay, so we're speaking as we're going over this. We're splitting stuff up into the duality. We're actually creating it in this conversation, and that becomes very confusing when in fact the only thing that does exist is love or all. For some reason, something is going on here because love or all is having this conversation right now.
Well,
That's
no.
the way that I see it.
No.
I don't see it as
but he is.
God being someplace else. I see it as God pervading everything in existence and actually generating this conversation.
Well, okay. Again, you have to define God. Okay. That which is, as I just said, cannot even have any smattering of the isn't. Okay. We are so arrogant as humans. I think in the Bible, in Ecclesiastes, something, vanity, something like that. Vanity is man's highest sin, or something like that. But I mean, because I think, and yes, once I think, that's blasphemy. Okay, because this I that thinks is the only problem, and the only problem is that we think that there's something separate from the all, a God. All right, that's the only problem. But there can't be a problem because there can't be any separation from the infinite absolute. In other words, heaven never stopped being all. And yes, there's only heaven. That's the only reality, is that heaven is, and heaven is here now. There's no time, there's no space, there's no matter. Big Bang never happened. Genesis 1 and 2 never happened. That's just man's basic attempt to justify man's existence, to verify that there is a human. Okay? You can't eliminate what isn't. Okay? I mean, that which isn't can't be gotten rid of because it isn't. It never existed. Okay? All right, now we're going to have to, we can take this up in the next show, but I just got the signal that we're going to have to end this up right now. So, the topic is love and happiness. And we only just got on to the love part, in which, you can talk for years about. But, continue to ask questions. And notice, get behind whatever that comes up for you. Because the human mind is going to try to verify that it's real. But ask, who is the one asking this question? Can God, the infinite absolute, ask this question? On that, we will end. Well, we're not going to end, but I really beseech you to really continue to stay open-minded enough to entertain what is love, what is happiness, and come from I really don't know. Thank you.